Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm using an art stone from the molds from Happy Dotting Company to create something similar to this beauty right here. Only I'm going to try and use some Christmas colors. So I'm going to start it off by covering it with black paint, letting it dry. Through the magic, of course, of internet, I can make it look like I did that in no time at all. Now, the lucky thing about these molds from the Happy Dotting Company on Etsy is that it has like a little center spot that you can work with. So it's really quick and easy to find the center of your stone so that you can use a compass like this and make two circles on your stone, like I always do with my stones. If you've been around for a while and you've seen my stuff, this is something you recognize. But I hope you're not bored because we're going to really change it up today. I've done some royal mandalas with you. I call them mandalas sometimes or mandala. It's whatever kind of day I'm having. So today it's a mandala kind of day. Now I am outlining my pencil lines with gold, and we're going to go back and neat and tidy those up a little bit later. Um, Now this one might look complicated by the picture, so if it scares you, just give it a watch. Watch it, see what you think. Go back to it a week later, watch it again, see what you think. It might be something that you can actually achieve if you give yourself a little bit of um, confidence and a little push from me. So don't give up, and please give it a try. And if you're not comfortable, try some of my other stuff first and then go back to this one because this one's going to look like a beautiful, I don't even know. I don't even know what it looks like. We'll see. So I'm starting off. I did find my center again with my gold paint. I put a nice big dot of gold there. This is going to be a mixture of dots and gold and glitter and lines and all the things that I love. So there's no way for me to make one exactly the same as the other. So the one I showed you at the beginning is going to look a little different from this one. I'm also trying to use some Christmas colors as well. If you're having a hard time finding a palette of colors to use, go on Pinterest, look up color palettes for Christmas or color palettes for spring or just color palettes in general. And it will come up with like 5 or 6 different colors that look nice together. And then you can just incorporate those colors into your dotted mandala or in whatever it is that you're making. I love looking at color palettes and being inspired by the beautiful colors that go so nicely together. So I can't take credit for all of my color combinations, um, but I do change it up a little bit. I steal my inspiration from other places for colors and then make my own thing with it, which is what you can do. So I'm using all the colors that I picked here. There's a little bit of like a darker, like a hunter green. There's some berry wine, some white, some gold, little bit of blue, like a lighter blue. And I just incorporate white and gold throughout the whole dotted area. But the main colors are the Christmassy colors, which is the green and the red and the gold, and you'll see. So what I do is I just do a bigger dot and then I walk around that dot with smaller dots. You change it up with dotting tools, with toothpicks, with needles. I use little sewing needles as well to make my really small dots. So if you've ever seen any of my stuff with really teeny weeny dots, that's what I'm using. But toothpicks are my best friend when it comes to dotting. So I have lots of those at my desk. So I walked around those burgundy dots with gold, 2 different sizes of gold. Now I'm using like a mint green, not just that dark green, but mint green as well. Then I'm going to walk with the dark green around the mint green. Um, and it looks really complicated, but it is just a big dot with little dots around it, a big dot with little dots around it. Change up the colors, layer over top of them when they're dry. It changes everything completely when you layer on top of those colors as well. So I am using a vintage tea rose pink in there as well, and like a light, almost buttery yellow I'm incorporating in there throughout. Now, I did pick my color palette before I started, so I'm just trying to incorporate all those colors that I picked in little places throughout this portion of it. Now, this right here is the most, it looks so delicate, like a fancy little doily, but um, we just did this. We just did this together, and I knew that you could do it with me. So don't lose your confidence. Just paint with me, and I'll show you how to do it. If there's a way to slow the video down, I don't know about it because I need some training on YouTube. I create on my phone and then upload it to YouTube. So I don't even know how to create in YouTube, which I need training on, obviously. But yeah, this, if there's a way you can slow it down so that you can get all those dots in, even if I didn't explain it all, I want you to be able to do this. So pause it, slow it down, start it over. You can always start over. So don't get upset if it doesn't feel like it's looking the way you want it to. You can start over. And literally, I'm just walking around those bigger dots and changing up the colors, and it does so many beautiful magical things to our artwork. So I did stopped right there, and I did some petals around the dots to close them in. Then I did extra set of petals that I'm putting the lines in now, just fine lines. I'm not being too careful. It's kind of looking sloppy, but I'll clean it up after if it looks too bad. You can always go back in with black paint and thin out any thick lines and change anything that you don't like. I'm going to leave them the way they are because I'm not perfect. And now I'm doing a thin line of hologram 2796 between all of those gold lines. Just a fine line of it. That's all you need, and it does wonders. Wait till you see this. It has this beautiful effect going from the dots to the lines and the glitter. It just looks so beautiful. And when I first picked my color palette, I didn't feel like it looked Christmassy, but I didn't want to just use your standard green, red, and white. So when I picked this color palette with the vintage rose and the mint green, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to look Christmassy, but it is starting to look really Christmassy. Now with these little spaces underneath the petals, I'm literally filling it in. I'm doing one spot for you to show you. Started with white, vintage pink, the berry wine, the blue, the mint green, and then I'm going to the dark green underneath that. And it doesn't look like much right now. All these little teeny weeny dots. It looks kind of like a mess, but you'll see it when they are all done and it changes. It looks really beautiful. And you'll be able to see the color changes a lot better once it's been sealed as well. But here we go. That's what we've got so far. Now, if you know me at all, you know I like to do framework. So I'm going to do the same kind of framework I usually do. Sorry to bore you. It is going to be the berry wine color with a little bit of the lighter pink, the vintage rose. And on one side of the frame and on the other side, it's going to be that dark hunter green with the mint green as well. What we're going to do with the light vintage rose and the mint green, the lighter colors are just going to highlight a little area on the frame to make it look like it's shiny, like ribbon. And you'll see that. I do it on a lot of my rocks. If I don't show you well enough in this tutorial, don't give up. Go back to one of my other tutorials where you see this kind of framework. And I probably spend more time with you there. Now, here's a little hint. I did do quite a thick frame. So one circle was made much bigger than the inner circle, so that there's a nice thick frame there, and then I can use a sponge to blend in my vintage rose like I'm showing you here. So what I've done is I did a first layer in the wine with a paintbrush, and then the second layer I did with a sponge in wine, and now I'm adding the vintage tea rose with a sponge. And it's just a lot easier to get this shiny ribbon look if I can use a sponge. So I'm just literally blending in berry wine over top of the vintage tea rose and then adding the vintage tea rose back over top of the berry wine until it blends together in a nice transition. And then it looks shiny. You can kind of sort of see it now. It looks like a shiny ribbon. Oh, the illusions I like to show you. Yes, that's my English accent. And I'm allowed to do that because actually I have dual citizenship. My family is from England. My mother is from England. She was born there. So I have dual citizenship between Canada and England. And I feel very, very lucky. I've never been there though. Unfortunately, one day I would love to go. And I do have some followers, some painters that paint with me that are from the UK. Hello, guys. I'm sorry if I offended you with my somewhat English accent that I pulled out there, but I promise you, both of my kids randomly talk with an English accent, and it's probably because of me. Because I do it all the time, and anyone who knows me for any length of time knows that I whip out the accent now and then. So I've done the same thing with the green side and the mint, with making it look shiny, making the little white area, lighter area. I'm blending in the green and the wine to make those transition a little bit nicer. And then it's going to be the way I want it to be. If you struggle with that, you don't have to do that. You can do any color framework that you want to do. But I like mine to have this effect. I like to add a lot of different detail to my artwork. If you can hear, my furnace is on again, guys. It is cold here. There is quite a few feet of snow outside, so my furnace might be kicking on during these tutorials that I'm recording today. So this is not going to be the only tutorial that I upload. There will be 3. So that's my way of saying Merry Christmas. I love you. I'm sorry I'm so busy with moving. But here you go. Here's a little treat. So that will keep you guys happy for a little while. So same thing I do with most of my framework as well. I am adding little lines, little notches in my dial around the artwork. So I just kind of go in between, in between, in between, in between, in between, just like that. No drinking games with the word in between, guys, please. No alcohol poisoning while painting rocks. That's not a good combo. So I just keep going in between each line so that I'm happy with the spaces that I have between them. I kept going for a little bit there, but now it looks all uniform and beautiful and Christmassy. I absolutely love it. Now you can see the point of all those stripy petals. I'm putting a big green dot at where the point is on all those petals. So right underneath the frame. Now we're going to do a little bit of dotting just to carry this mandala down, right down to the bottom. So it just brings your eyes all the way through. And it changes so much as you go. Now, for some people, this might be too much. This might be just overwhelming. The amount of dots and stripes and color and gold and all of it. It just might be too much. I understand that. Everybody has different things that their eyes are attracted to. So if this isn't for you, I completely understand. If this is too difficult, but you love it, keep trying. Promise me that you will keep trying, because that's how I ended up here showing you how to do it, is that I kept trying. So please do that for me. It will be something that you will be very proud of, I promise. Now I am just trying to incorporate all the colors that I used again. It doesn't really matter in what order you use them in. I'm using green, then mint green, then blue. And I'm literally big green dot, and then the rest are being walked around with a smaller dotting tool. Now I'm using the red or berry wine. And Even if you don't think these colors look good or right together, in the end, they just all go. It just all works out. I promise. Now I'm adding I didn't want to forget my vintage tea rose on these areas here, so I'm adding the vintage tea rose to my green. And of course, some gold in between. You want to carry it all down, all the colors, even your accents of gold and glitter. You can add glitter to the green first before you put the pink there. Or I didn't actually add any hologram to that portion. I just kept the hologram in the stripes of the petals. So, what do you think, guys? Wait till you see this resined, and I'm going to show you the other one resined as well. This is what they look like. They ended up being very different from each other. I struggle making mandalas look exactly the same as the other. So, but here's your treat. Here is my resin copy. Now I know that's breathtaking. I just love it. And it's going into my shop with a bunch of other stuff. So if you really love this, you might want to head over to my shop quickly because they go very fast. This one's also going in my shop, purples and teals and blues, and oh my goodness, I am absolutely in love with these. They are gorgeous. They are beautiful pieces of artwork for you to display anywhere you want. I hope that you were able to make one with me. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if they're too complicated. I love you all. I cut myself off all the time, so I'm going to say it now. I love you.